Howdy and good afternoon. Today on Public Eye News, Northern Michigan University gives its students a wellness day and an update on the shooting in Colorado. Later, Megan Tarcia will have your weather and Max Stevens will have your sports update. Hi, I'm Nate Jacobs, and this is Public Eye News. Rise and shine, NMU students, and look forward to a day off. Northern Michigan University President Fritz Erickson sent an email to students and staff yesterday afternoon highlighting a wellness day on March 31st. Following a semester amidst the pandemic with no spring break, Erickson and ASNMU organized the day off and are planning for another in April. Planning on being more lenient on snow days, after the mellow winter, they decided to take matters into their own hands. Although there will be no classes or student organization meetings, NMU offices and resources will still be available during normal business hours. Faculty members will be coordinating with students for the completion of work scheduled on that day. And the Michigan PFAS response team, along with various Upper Peninsula health systems, will be conducting a virtual community meeting on the matter on April 6th at 6 p.m. Central Time, according to WNMU-TV. This meeting is in response to the investigation and well sampling performed by PFAS at the Gogebic County Airport. PFAS are man-made chemicals that can contaminate drinking water when leached into the ground. These chemicals were commonly used at airports as a firefighting foam, but are also found in nonstick pans, carpets, and food packaging. PFAS is conducting the investigation to track if any chemicals are in fact present in the surrounding potable water. To attend the virtual meeting, visit michigan.gov/PFAS response or listen by calling 636-651-3142. And as spring approaches Michigan, the weather isn't the only thing heating up. With the dry winter rising temperature, there has been a series of brush fires reported around Michigan, according to the Department of Natural Resources. Don Klingler, a DNR Resource Protection Manager for the Lower Peninsula, reports they've had to put a stop to smoking fires, 40 fires, since the state last Friday. Sparks have been flying, with one fire jumping a drainage ditch and over the Black River to rage on, said Roger McNeil, a forest fire officer for the Lincoln DNR office. Up to 20 fires burned at once on Monday, with one burning over 600 acres in Manistee. And in Kalamazoo County, more than 30% of people have received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Trisha McCauley is in Kalamazoo with the latest on vaccination progress.
In Kalamazoo County, more than 30% of people have received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Almost 18% of the county's population is fully vaccinated. Health Officer Jim Rutherford says there are more than 100,000 people in the county still waiting to get their shot.
When we open up a clinic, it's filled within minutes. So there's a really significant demand.
Rutherford says the health department is prioritizing those most at risk, including those 65 and older, by setting aside appointments for that group. Everyone else can schedule an appointment when they become eligible on a first-come, first-served basis. Starting April 5th, that's everyone over the age of 16.
I'm not opposed to opening it up. I'm looking forward to hopefully being towards the end of this, in the middle of the summer, end of summer.
Rutherford says the health department is able to vaccinate 3,000 people a day as long as they have enough doses from the state. He says he hopes by April they can start getting 12 to 15,000 doses a week.
It's really about, scaling up, getting more slots available for people to sign up, and getting through the remainder of the population as quickly as possible.
The state says they are getting an extra 10 to 20,000 doses a week and expect allocations to continue to increase.
After this break, we'll be back with your national and international news.
We asked families from around the country to think about what it means to get older and took them on an immersive journey 30 years into their futures to see what life might be like.
It's like stepping into a different world.
Everything looks really foggy.
You got me with the aging makeup.
Well, that's a trip.
All of them considered. If they knew now what they'll know then, would they change anything?
I'm still there. I'm still going to be Susan.
Tonight at 10 on WNMU-TV.
Welcome back. In parts of the U.S. vaccination drive, the pandemic outlook is looking up. More than 70% of Americans aged 65 or older have received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine just 3 months into the effort. Many states, including Michigan, have opened vaccinations to all adults. Although a large step, Dr. Anthony Fauci is not ready to declare the U.S. in the clear. And after the deadly shooting in Boulder, Colorado yesterday, law enforcement officials are declaring the suspect as prone and sudden to rage. Ahmed Al-Alawi Alyssa, the man accused of killing 10 people, was formally suspended from high school after an attack on classmates. Alyssa is set to make his first court appearance this Thursday to be advised on the charges against him. And the European Union is moving towards stricter export controls for coronavirus vaccines, seeking to make sure its 27 nations have more vaccines amid a surge in new infections. The EU's executive body said that it has a plan to guarantee that more vaccines are produced and available for its 450 million citizens, even if that comes at the cost of helping nations outside the Union, most notably Britain. EU officials said trade with the United States should not be affected and assured nations that have sought to have a transparent relationship with the Union that they have little to fear. And Poland recorded its highly daily numbers of the new coronavirus infections as hospitals buckle under a new surge. Hungary has the highest per capita in the world, and Romanian doctors are working around the clock to having decide who does and who doesn't get a bed in an intensive care unit. The coronavirus pandemic is unleashing enormous suffering as infection rates rise across Central Europe, even as the Czech Republic and Slovakia, recently among the worst hit areas in the world, are seeing some improvements following tight lockdowns. And authorities say the shooter in Boulder grocery store killings used a newly purchased AR-15 to kill 10 people, including a police officer. That is renewed calls for tougher gun laws in America, but as Natalie Brand reports, the White House, there is still, again, stiff opposition to any new gun control laws.
Vice President Kamala Harris stepped up calls by the White House for new gun safety laws during an interview with CBS This Morning.
This is not about getting rid of the Second Amendment. It's simply about saying we need reasonable gun safety laws. There is no reason why we have assault weapons on the streets of a civil society. They are weapons of war. They are designed to kill a lot of people quickly.
Tuesday, President Biden urged Congress to pass a new ban on assault weapons and to immediately take up measures already passed in the House. One would close the Charleston loophole, which allows the sale of a firearm to proceed if a background check is not completed within 3 days. The other would require background checks on nearly all gun purchases, including those involving private sellers.
I have committed to put legislation to expand background checks on the floor of the Senate. We will debate it. We will vote on it.
Vice President Harris would not rule out the possibility of President Biden using executive action to enact new gun measures, but said it's not his first choice.
I don't think the president is excluding that, but I want to be clear that if we really want something that is going to be lasting, we need to pass legislation.
Under current Senate rules, gun laws would need at least 60 votes to pass, which means winning Republican support.
Their target is on the law-abiding citizens. What actually works is targeting the bad guys.
Not every Senate Democrat is on board with the House-passed bills. West Virginia's Joe Manchin says he opposes requiring private sellers to perform background checks before selling their guns. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Edmond is the latest metro community to say goodbye to masks. City Council members agreed to let the mask ordinance expire at midnight. KWTV Brittany Toulis talked with Edmonton officials and more.
We use data metrics to put these mask ordinances in place, and you've got to use it to remove them.
As of 12:01 a.m. Tuesday, masks are no longer required to eat, shop, or enter a government building in Edmond, a first for Commonplace Books, which opened up back in October.
Mask mandates were always in place for the last several months as we've done business here in downtown Edmond, and so this is a new territory.
Now, if you are out and about in downtown Edmond, officials say to make sure you keep a mask handy, because it's now up to business owners to determine whether or not customers have to mask up.
For the foreseeable future, we'll continue to wear masks in the space.
Knuckles says he expects most customers will follow the lead of the people working inside.
People tend to follow kind of house rules without being, required. My kids know to take their shoes off in the garage before they come in the house. Why do they know to do that? Because I've taken my shoes off first.
The positivity rate in Edmond has been below 5% for the last week. But health officials say one concern about the expired mask mandate is the people who traveled during spring break. We won't see those effects right away.
We will see if that's going to occur. The last day of spring break was Sunday. So we'll see that within the next 10 to 14 days.
Even though there's no ordinance in place, following CDC guidelines is a safe bet.
That's obviously social distancing, frequent sanitization, and masks are encouraged. They're not mandated or required, but they are definitely still encouraged.
After this break, we'll be back with your weather and sports.
On the next Great Lakes Now, we take a trip back in time to solve a decades-old Great Lakes mystery.
Like most of the boat nerds who watch these sorts of things, I start looking for clues.
Judging by the angle where the film is taken, this is probably a guest of the captain.
And what items in your home could be exposing you and your cat to PFAS.
There are dozens of things in here that are made with the chemicals. Am I getting a slow drip of poison?
Tune in Sunday afternoon at 3:30.
To Public Eye News, I'm Megan Tarcia here with your weather. Behind me you can see it's a very gloomy NMU campus as we look into today's conditions. It is light rain with a temperature of 48 degrees. Our winds are south-southeast at 10 miles per hour and our barometric pressure is 29.50 inches and falling. Looking into tonight's conditions, it'll be rain showers again with low of 28 degrees and our winds will be west at 15 miles per hour. Tomorrow's conditions will be overcast skies with a high of 31 degrees. Our winds will be north-northwest at 13 miles per hour. Looking across the UP, starting over into St. Marie, it is 49 and overcast skies. Manistee at 46 with overcast skies. Escanaba, 48 with rain showers. Oh, down in Menominee, it is 50 with overcast skies. Iron Mountain at 51 with rain showers. Ironwood, 38 degrees and overcast skies. Up in Houghton, again, overcast skies at 46 degrees. And Marquette is at 52 with rain showers. Looking ahead at our weekly conditions, starting with Friday is a high of 32 and a low of 26 with cloudy skies. Saturday is a high of 45 and a low of 30 degrees with rain showers later on. And Sunday will be a high of 37 and a low of 28 with windy conditions. Now going back to Max Stevens with our sports.
Thank you, Megan. Last night's NHL game between the Detroit Red Wings and the Nashville Predators will be the last ever officiated by referee Tim Peel, who this morning was banned from the National Hockey League after the broadcast caught Peel saying that he wanted to give the Predators a penalty. With about 15 minutes left in the second period, Predators forward Victor Arvidsson was called for tripping Red Wings defenseman John Merrill. Replays showed that the call was questionable, and about 2.5 minutes later, the Nashville broadcast captured audio from Peel saying, quote, "It wasn't much, but I wanted to get a penalty against Nashville early," end quote. NHL Senior Vice President of Hockey Operations Colin Campbell announced Peel's banning this morning, stating that the NHL will do whatever it takes to protect the integrity of the game. In other NHL news, last night the Board of Governors announced rule changes to the NHL Draft Lottery to help last-place teams. The biggest change is rather than 3 different lotteries determining the first 3 picks, a single lottery will determine only the first 2 picks. This rule change was inspired by the 2020 lottery, which saw the league-worst Detroit Red Wings, who had the highest odds to win the top pick, end up picking 4th as the New York Rangers, LA Kings, and Ottawa Senators all won the top 3 picks. The NHL has also implemented a rule restricting teams to no more than 2 lottery wins within a 5-year span. These changes will be implemented beginning with the 2021 draft. And March doesn't just bring madness to NCAA basketball. The Michigan High School Athletic Association boys and girls basketball championship tournaments are now both underway, with the boys opening district play last night. Bark River Harris advanced to the second round of districts with a 60-35 win over Manistee. Crystal Falls Forest Park advances with a 59-35 win over Felch North Dickinson. Gladstone notched a 78-63 win over Houghton. Ironwood advances with a 47-35 win over Ishpeming. And Lance moves on to round 2 with a 65-62 win over Calumet. Tonight, the girls' tournament resumes with round 2 of district play, featuring matchups such as Munising taking on Eben Junction Superior Central, Hancock going up against Negaunee, Houghton squaring off with Escanaba, and Lance facing undefeated Calumet. The girls' tournament district finals are set for Friday night, while the boys' tournament continues tomorrow night with round 2, culminating in district finals on Saturday. And with that, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you very much for joining us in this edition of Public Eye News. We'll see you all tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth and Edgar Hardin Hall.